Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome. I'm so glad to have you. As you can see from the title, today we are making the family from Malcolm in the Middle in The Sims 4. This is a video that I've actually wanted to make for a really long time, and I'm just now getting around to it. And it's honestly probably because I'm rewatching Malcolm in the Middle again right now, and so it's like fresh in my brain. And so I figured, now's the time. I started with Lois, and I gave her the academic aspiration because she mentions a few times throughout the show that if she didn't have kids and a family, that is something she would have pursued. She would have pursued some sort of career as a violinist, most likely, and she would have gone to college. There's also an episode where she talks about how she wanted to study abroad in Paris or something like that, so I figured that was fitting. And I gave her the hot-headed and perfectionist traits as well as the loyal trait because that just seemed fitting. And if you're wondering why they have a last name, it's because obviously I need one for The Sims, and also because technically the family does have a last name in the show. If you watch the show in the US, they never actually say the name out loud. There's one episode at the very beginning of the show where Francis is wearing a name tag at his military school, and it has the name Wilkerson on it. And if, like I said, you watch the show in the US, that's the only hint that you get towards their last name. If you watch the show in the UK, they do say the name during the, promos and bumpers in between episodes of the show, but never actually in the show itself. Obviously it's the same recordings, but that's how you would know their last name basically, and now it's just sort of a little Easter egg at this point. I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be included at some point in the very first few episodes, but the writers decided it was funnier for them to not have a last name at all, and also I guess it makes the characters more relatable. They're more of an everyman kind of family that way, you know what I mean? And I started with Lois, obviously, and I had a really difficult time with her, actually, so if you don't think she looks accurate, well, neither do I. I spent a long time on this sim. Of all of the members of the family, I spent the longest amount of time on her. I think I spent a total of 40 minutes on her just trying to get her close to accurate, and I still don't like it. I think it could be worse for sure. The end product is as close as I could get it without making myself insane. And I did the genetic merge option thing to make all of the boys, and all of the boys are relatively accurate, and so I do think that I got at least close, because if I hadn't, then the boys would have been completely off the mark, but I did my best. I don't know. I did use reference photos for all of them, and so they're as accurate as I can make them, basically. Because I did the genetic merger thing with the boys, I basically just combined Hal and Lois and then tweaked what I got to make them a little closer, but I kind of wanted to balance it between what I was given from the game and also what the actors actually look like. It's my personal opinion that the show is actually really well cast. I do think that all of the members of the family do look relatively related, and so, I don't want to say that my version is better and makes more sense than the version that was created in the show, but it makes more sense for The Sims, I think, and especially because, like I said, I struggled so badly with Lois. You can see, even after I decided I was finished with her face and her hair and everything, after I was picking her outfits out and everything, it was every few minutes I would look back up at her face and I would think, that's not right, and so I would stop what I was doing and I would go back and I would try to fix her face a little bit more and make her face more accurate. And I don't know, you can let me know what you guys think, but please be nice, because I'm really insecure about this sim. I know she doesn't look right. I tried my best. I will say that I do think I nailed her wardrobe. Like I said, I had some reference photos, and so I was able to look at some of the actual outfits she wore on the show and go from there. But I am watching the show again now too, and so I was able to sort of go off of my own memory and what I know her vibes to be, if that makes sense. I almost went with this pink button up because it's pretty similar to a shirt that she has on the show. But I couldn't find any pants that I liked to go with it. She wears a lot of khakis and not really jeans or anything like that, so I wanted to go with these pants, or some of the other khakis really didn't matter. And the fact that this shirt was tucked in just looked weird to me. And so I ended up going with this blue one instead, which again is like almost exactly like one she wears on the show. So pretty confident about that choice. I did fiddle with her makeup a little bit for her formal look just to set it apart from all of her like everyday looks. She doesn't really wear a lot of makeup on the show, but she does wear a little bit here and there. I didn't want to make her look like that episode where her boss like makes her wear more makeup at work, because that episode specifically was like she's really uncomfortable wearing like an entire full face of makeup. So, you know, I didn't want it to be too out of character. This updo is actually pretty accurate to some hair that she wears on the show as well. She doesn't usually wear her hair up like this sleek for her formal outfits on the show, but it's the closest that I could get on the show. Every time that she has worn her hair like up and for whatever special occasion, there's always a few like loose bits. It's sort of messy. It's really cute, but I don't really have a hair like that in the game, so I just went with this one. And I picked this red dress because of the episode in the first season where she wanted to wear a special red dress for her anniversary and it got burnt up, so I wanted to honor that her vision for what she would look like for a special day. And from there, I just sort of went with vibes. Like I said, I'm watching the show right now, and so I just sort of went off of like, all right, well, what would I think Lois would wear if she were to work out? You know, I think there's like one scene kind of late in the show where she's like jogging or whatever, and she wears like a zip-up hoodie and sweats. So boom, there you go, zip-up hoodie and sweats. For her pajamas, she almost always wears like a button-up shirt and pants set that matches, and I thought for sure that there was a set like that for women in The Sims, and there absolutely was not. I don't know why I thought that. I guess because I've just put them in the men's one before in the saves that I play and just never really thought about it twice, but I had to do that again here. For her party outfit, I ended up putting her in a skirt. She doesn't really wear skirts on the show very often. It's like only when she's going out for like a special dinner or when there's like, you know, like a special event, but I figured that was appropriate for a party outfit. I put her hair up in this claw clip just to sort of mix it up and have some variety with her hairstyles, because I didn't want to have just like, you know, her like hair that's down and then like her formal hair and that was it. I just, you know, I wanted a little bit of variety. I went with this pink sweater just because I wasn't able to do that pink button up for her everyday, and this sort of has the same vibe and the same color scheme. A coral colored skirt rather than a pink one, because that color pink on that skirt, I don't know, I didn't like it. These short little kitten heels, which again, I'm not really sure if that's very Lois, but I do like the way that it looks with the outfit. And yeah, here I am tweaking her face again. Gosh, it happens a lot. And then for her swimwear, I ended up going with a blue one piece, you'll see, and I put her hair up in these pigtails because pigtails is actually a hairstyle she wears quite a lot on the show. They're usually kind of low like these, and it's not just for when it's like hot out or when she's going swimming. Like she'll wear pigtails in pretty much any situation. But I only wanted to use them for these two different outfit categories, again, for the most variety possible with her hairstyles. And I did give her these little hoop earrings. When her hair is down, you can't see them, so I didn't really worry about it. But for when her hair is up and her ears are actually visible, I did give her those earrings. And I gave her this tied-off shirt for her hot weather. I was looking for something that was sort of like a sleeveless t-shirt tank top situation, and that's kind of the closest that I could find that looked good. And then for her cold weather, I wasn't really sure, but I went with this turtleneck. I think that that is very Lois. And then I gave her some boots as well. And yeah, here I am going back and making sure that I have her makeup right, because I realized that I had removed it for her swimwear and then not put it back for her hot and cold weather outfits. If you can hear a bell ringing in the background, that is one of my rabbits. He's crazy. I'm sorry about that. And then after her, I moved on to Hal, which He was so easy. After I made Lois, and it took me nearly an hour, and then Hal was just like it was so simple. I felt like I was going insane actually, because it was like, what do you mean it's this easy? I gave him the big happy family aspiration, the romantic, childish, and cheerful traits. I think those are all fair for Hal. The more I watch the show, the more I feel like, you know, childish is definitely an important trait for him to have. It just makes sense. And then I went and I tried to find this hairstyle, and I used this face template, and you'll see I didn't really tweak it that much because it really already looks like Bryan Cranston. I made sure to add some wrinkles. He's got a very crinkly, foldy face. And once I added the like crow's feet and the forehead wrinkles, I was like, oh, like this is Hal. I don't really need to do a whole lot more. I did do some like fine tuning, but I didn't really do a whole lot after that because I didn't need to. I felt like he was accurate. I will say I made his eyes brown because a reference photo that I had made his eyes look really brown, and I mean, I don't know what color Bryan Cranston's eyes are off the top of my head, and so I just made them brown. But then I was watching the show after I had already recorded the video, and the like light catches his eyes, and they're really green, and I was like, oh geez, I gotta go and fix that. So I did fix it. I adjusted the color of his eyes. They are green. I ended up going with the more like hazily green color that we have, just because it does look more brown, I guess, at certain angles, and they're not like true green, but they're definitely closer to Bryan Cranston's actual eyes. I couldn't believe that I had made that mistake because I watched the show so many times, and like I swear I know what he looks like, but I guess not. And most of his outfits, I was able to find references for his wardrobe on the show, and go from there. I did have a hard time with his suit just because all of the like one-piece suit options that we have didn't really look right. This was sort of a struggle that I had doing all of their outfits, really, was that the styling on the show is obviously very of the time. It's very, you know, early mid 2000s. And a lot of the parents' clothes are a little bit 90s, and in Hal's case, even a little bit 80s. So that was a bit of a challenge. So like the suit that he wears on the show, it's usually, you know, he has like bigger coats and they look more vintagey, but in the game they give us very like neat trim little suits with like tiny little jackets and like cropped pants, and it's like, well, I don't think that Hal is like, you know, what do you, like, ankle length pant guy. I think he needs like a full length pant for his suit, you know. I did give him these tiny little shorts for his athletic wear because I think that it's very Hal. Some white dad sneakers just to sort of top off that look, and then I did adjust his thighs because he was looking a little bit too buff for me. That didn't seem right. And I did his pajamas with just like a plain t-shirt and some plaid pants, which, again, I'm not sure if that's entirely accurate because I was watching the show the other night and I could have sworn I saw him with like a patterned pajama top with like buttons on it, but I don't know, maybe I'm crazy and I'm misremembering. Either way, it's close enough. For his party outfit, I ended up going with this Leatherman jacket, which it's based off of an outfit that he wore on the show. I'm pretty sure he also wore a ball cap, but I didn't add it since, I don't know, it felt strange. I'm pretty sure the outfit that I was basing it off of was an outfit that he wore during an episode where he was like mostly outside, and that didn't make so much sense for me to do for a party outfit, but I like the jacket idea, so we did that. For his hot weather, I did this tank top here, and again, little shorts, flip-flops. Basically, any opportunity I had to give him little short shorts, I took, because, again, I think that's very Hal. For his cold weather, I gave him this big puffy jacket and then just stuck him in his regular old jeans and some boots. And, oh yeah, I decided to give him a hat, too, because that just felt fitting. I don't know. And then this is where I started with the boys. Oh yeah, and before I did that, I remembered I needed to make these guys adults and not young adults because I was going to make Francis, their oldest son, a young adult. So, you know, had to fix that. And yeah, I basically just randomized a sim until I got one that was close enough looking to Francis that I wasn't going to have to do too much tweaking. I did set all of their family dynamics, so if you're curious about that, they are all set. I am going to upload these guys to the gallery so that you guys can have them and do with them what you will as well. Again, if you don't think they're all that accurate, you can download them and you can fix them. Be my guest. Another thing that I did after the fact was I was watching the show and I remember that Francis has tattoos. Christopher Masterson, the guy that plays him, has a tattoo on his wrist. And canonically, Francis also has a tattoo on his back. You don't ever see it, but it's supposedly there. And so I did go back and add a tattoo on his forearm and one on his back as well. And I gave him the gloomy, self-assured, and bro traits just because, again, I feel that's very Francis. And I gave him the super parent aspiration because, well, I don't know. It just seemed fitting, I guess. It seemed the most fitting out of all of the aspirations to choose from. And so we went with that. And then for his outfits, I don't know. I wasn't really sure here what to do because he wears a lot of t-shirts on the show, but he also wears a lot of sweaters. But the sweater selection in the game is not as strong as I would like it to be. So ended up going with a graphic tee for his everyday and then just a simple shirt and tie for his formal wear. Just, again, keeping it simple, easy. For his athletic wear, I gave him a t-shirt and shorts. After I initially put the outfit together, I thought, like, maybe I shouldn't give him black shorts. Maybe I should give him gray shorts. And I almost second-guessed myself again because I was like, well, does he need to be wearing gray and gray? So I ended up keeping the black shorts. For his pajamas, we just, black t-shirt, gray pants, easy. A lot of his color schemes ended up being black and gray. I know he wears more color in the show, but it's sort of just the way that I do Sims, you know? I sort of color code their outfits just to make it easier on myself. And again, after Lois took me almost an hour, each of the boys took me maybe 15 minutes. It was super easy. And again, it made me feel a little bit nuts because it was like, what do you mean it's this simple? It can't be this simple. And I had to obviously speed everything up to 3 times speed just so the video wasn't over an hour long. But trust me when I say that this did take me quite some time to do and perfect. The boys were easier to dress, too, than Lois was, also because I had way more reference photos. A lot of the reference photos that I found of Lois, she's wearing her work uniform, and she does wear her work uniform a lot on the show, but that doesn't help me when I'm trying to build, like, a wardrobe for her, you know? For Francis's hot weather, I did end up going with the gray shorts there, because I didn't do them for the athletic wear. And I was like, he can have 2 pairs of shorts. It's fine. For his cold weather, I gave him this brown jacket and then just jeans and boots just to keep it simple like before. And then we moved on to Reese, which he was relatively easy. I feel like I got this sim randomly that looked pretty accurate, so I didn't have to do too much work on his face. I gave him the Master Chef aspiration, and then for his traits, I gave him hot-headed and lazy. And I wasn't entirely sure what to give him for his second trait, but I felt like lazy was, pretty accurate. The Master Chef aspiration was really the most important thing for me for Reese because, cooking is like his thing, right? And so I had to make sure that I gave him that. And like I said, I didn't tweak his face too much. I just sort of adjusted his brows. And I did some other little touch-ups here and there. The brows is the big thing for all of these boys. That was, like, the biggest change that I made because for some reason, the game just kept giving them these, like, crazy arches. It's like, no, they have pretty straight brows, actually. They don't need arches that high. I gave him this layered shirt just to sort of match his vibe on the show. He wears some layers on the show and mostly just a lot of t-shirts, but gave him that and some cargo pants and then kept these sneakers, but I changed the color just so that they would be more accurate to what he wears on the show. For his formal wear, I wasn't really sure. He wears some suits on the show for formal occasions, but I ended up going with this sweater vest instead just because it seemed like it was going to be easier to match, and also he's a teenager, right? So it seemed fitting. For his athletic, I ended up going with a patterned t-shirt and some shorts. I went with this brown shirt, and then after I picked the shorts, I was like, wait, I want to have a shirt that actually matches the shorts. So then I went with this one instead. And then some sneakers that match as well. So he has a whole black and blue fit. For his pajamas, I gave him this white undershirt and then just some pajama pants. Simple. And then for his party outfit, for some reason, he was created with all of these crazy accessories, so I had to get rid of those. And I wanted to give him a layered shirt, you know, like a button up over a t-shirt. And those two from Laundry Day are usually pretty good, but I felt like they were too, I don't know, scruffy or boho. And then this one from Cats and Dogs was too plain. I don't know. And then I scrolled and I found one from the base game, actually, that's like a flannel over a t-shirt. And that one ended up being the one that I went with because it was that perfect mix of like kind of grungy, but, you know, it was patterned enough. It was fun. And then just jeans and sneakers. For his swimsuit, this was where it started to get kind of difficult for me because I was like, man, how many like swim trunks do I actually have? And I wanted each of them to have their own swimsuit, so that took me kind of a while. And then I ended up going with this sleeveless hoodie thing for his hot weather. I feel like it's very Reese. And for his cold weather, I did this blue hoodie that's kind of baggy. It's pretty accurate to one that he wears on the show, so it felt fitting to me. And then back to his cargo pants here, and then I went with some boots that matched the hoodie. And then we moved on to Malcolm, which I think Malcolm is probably the most accurate one out of all of the boys, and it was purely through luck of me getting a sim through the randomizer that looked like him, you know? I had a little bit of a struggle picking his aspiration, but I ended up going with the fabulously wealthy one, and then obviously I had to give him the genius trait, and I gave him the gloomy trait as well. It just seemed very Malcolm, you know how he is, chronic complainer, always miserable, convinced that his life is the worst all of the time. So gloomy it is. His hair was difficult. You know, Frankie Muniz has curly hair, and a lot of the curly hairs for the boys in The Sims, they're like kind of long, but his hair really isn't that long. So I ended up going with this one, and it makes his forehead look kind of big, but it's also kind of accurate. You know what I mean? Like, there are plenty of jokes on the show about how Malcolm has a big head, so I think it's fine. I ended up going with this striped shirt for him and then some brown jeans based off of a promo photo that I found and was using as a reference. Some chunky green sneakers just to sort of complete it. I put him in a tux because he's like the most put together of his brothers, if that makes sense. And I just thought it was very Malcolm. I thought it was cute. For his athletic wear, I gave him this graphic shirt, simple, some shorts and sneakers, the same chunky sneakers as before. For his pajamas, I ended up just giving him no shirt at all and then some pajama pants just for a little bit of variety, since like Hal had a t-shirt, Francis has a t-shirt, Reese has like an undershirt, so boom, there you go. For his party outfit, I actually really liked this shirt for him, and so I kept it and just found some pants and shoes to go with it. I thought it was very accurate for him. Just a random swimsuit swatch that I didn't hate, and then on to the hot weather, where I did this t-shirt and some shorts, and then I gave him flip-flops, actually, rather than other options. It just seemed accurate. I gave Reese flip-flops too, so I don't know, maybe they're not all flip-flop wearers, but maybe a couple of them are, you know? And then for his cold weather, I gave him this baggy sweater that kind of looks like the shirt I gave him for his everyday, and then the same brown jeans as his everyday outfit, and I ended up giving him some boots as well that like go underneath the jeans rather than tucking the jeans into them, because, you know, he's a nerd, but he's not that nerdy. And then last but not least, I did Dewey. I debated making Jamie the youngest brother, but then I held off because I figure if I play in the save, then I will end up with a Jamie, you know what I mean? And so I just stopped at Dewey. But here he is, here's Dewey. I ended up giving him the creative genius, child aspiration, and then the music lover trait, a very important trait for Dewey to have. Obviously, I went in and I had to change his hair color and everything because he's blonde like his brother Francis. And I also had to give him very big ears because, well, that's like his trademark, right? He's got very big ears. I did have to adjust his brows because, like I said, the randomizer kept giving me these like crazy arches. I didn't do too much tweaking to his face though, because it's notorious in The Sims 4 that if you make a child sim have like too distinct of a face, they grow up and their features are whack. And so I didn't go too crazy. So he's maybe not the most accurate Dewey sim, but I do think that when he grows up, he will at least be a palatable looking sim. And again, if I play in the save, I'll probably adjust the way that he looks to make it more accurate later, but for now, this is good enough. And obviously you can do the same if you download these guys from the gallery as well. These are just some of the like things I scrolled through to put together his outfits. I ended up going with a brown and red color scheme for him for the most part, except for these pajamas. It took me a hot minute to pick which ones I wanted, but I ended up going with these space themed ones because they seemed the most Dewy to me. And also the other space ones that had like stars on them, I don't know, they didn't speak to me the way that that one did. For his party outfit, I ended up going with this zip up hoodie and then the same brown pants as I had for his everyday. I basically used these same brown pants and brown shoes for every applicable outfit slot, if that makes sense, just to make things easy. For his hot weather, I wasn't sure if I wanted to give him like a jersey or a t-shirt situation, but I ended up going with this one that is like a little polo shirt kind of deal. And I gave him sneakers rather than flip-flops just to set him apart from his brothers, and also just because, like, I don't know, he's a kid, he's gonna be running around a lot more, right? For his cold weather, I gave him this red coat, and then, like I said, regular brown pants, but then boots rather than his sneakers, and a hat. And yeah, that's it. Like I said, these guys are up for download on the gallery, so feel free to check them out, and also all the other things I have posted. Give me a comment and let me know what you guys think. Give me a like if you liked it. Feel free to subscribe to me here, subscribe to me on my essay channel, and I just forgot to tell you to follow me on Instagram, but you can do that too. Alright, bye!